Hey everyone, it's Dominique, and this is part 2 of Tunisian crochet, and what we'll be covering is the simple stitch and how to eventually make this little wallet that I had for myself. So in the first part, what you did was you chained 40 and then you skipped a stitch and you inserted your hook into each single chain, yarned over, and drew up a single loop. So now you should have a total of 39, or one less of your chain, total length of chain that you made, stitches on your hook. So now we're going to do the return row, and you're doing the return row because you're moving back. So what you would do is yarn over, and then draw through the first loop, yarn over, and draw through 2 loops. And keep doing that, just a yarn over and pull through 2. For the remainder of the loops that are on your hook. So whenever you start, it's always yarn over and then only through 1 loop, and then from that point on, it's yarn over and bring through 2. So Tunisian crochet is really nice in the sense that it gives you a nice basket weave kind of look with your work, and you can crochet 2 yarn colors at the same time, and you don't have to trim or cut anything. You can just work it, for example, in a round. You could work it opposite ends, so one hook would do one color and one hook would do the other, but we'll cover that in a different video. Because this one here doesn't require any turning, I'm actually not going to use my second hook on my Tunisian crochet hook. Alright, so keep doing your yarn over and pull through 2. You can use any color combination you want. You could do this only in 1 color if that's all you have handy, but it's totally up to you. I did it in 2 because I'm trying desperately to get rid of some of the yarn I've began collecting since moving to Finland. So, and as well, these would make easy, quick presents for people, Christmas, birthdays, any kind of holiday. These would be a wonderful gift, and you can find really nice buttons sometimes at your local yarn shop. They might sell them, or at a specialty sewing store or a fabric store. You can always find some cool buttons, or at your local flea market. Some people might just bag up their odds and ends and sell them for cheap. So okay, so now we're going to go on to row 2, and this one's one of my favorite rows. So you're going to, if you look at your work here, you're going to take your hook and insert it into the vertical bar. And if you look at your whole length of work, what you created were several vertical bars straight across. There we go. So what we're going to do is insert our hook through that vertical bar, yarn over, and bring a loop. And now you're going to do that for the whole length of your work. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, bring up a loop. I'm just going to try and go a little faster. Just so I can keep this video as short as possible. I mean, it's not fun having to click on 5 million different links to do one project. So this is called the Tunisian simple stitch, and you can actually in advanced Tunisian crochet you can do some purl knitting and some knit stitches using a crochet hook, the Tunisian style one. It's really neat. It's kind of difficult, but I can definitely make videos for you on how to do this. Now this is why, as you can see by all your stitches you have, this is why you cannot use a regular crochet hook to do this kind of craft. Just you need the space on the length of your crochet hook to complete it. I mean, if you have a bunch of extra hooks and needles, I suppose one could be super crafty and melt them together to make that extra length. Who knows? But Afghan hooks, like I said, with just the single hook and just super long length, they're generally cheaper, at least here in Finland. They're, you know, a couple euros cheaper than an Afghan, or sorry, than a Tunisian hook. So whatever works for you. But if you want to do two colors and work in a round, say making a basket or anything that's circular, using two colors for Tunisian crochet, you will need the second hook at the end. Okay, so that's my last vertical bar. So I'm going to keep working in my pink color. I'm not going to add my second color yet. I just want to give a little bit of an edge of one color, solid one color, and then I'll work in my second color, which is very, very easy. So now that you have your stitches all looped and all the vertical bars, sorry, all looped and onto your hook, you're going to do the same thing as before for the return row. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop only, then yarn over and pull through the remaining two, and continue to do this until the very end of your work. Now the thing about Tunisian crochet, because it's a basket weave, you don't have to use a very super thick kind of yarn, because it does the basket weave effect. It thickens the yarn in the sense that it's a very thick kind of craft. So this is, you know, had I been making a shawl, it would be a good, you know, a good way to use thinner yarn to make it a bit thicker into something warm. Because with the shawl, it requested something, like with the pattern, it said to use like super chunky yarn, and I was thinking I would probably be sweating. So I just went into my cupboard of yarn that I have in the spare room, and I just took some yarn that was size 4. It was recommended for size 4, and this Tunisian crochet hook I'm working with is about a size 8 or 9. It's not marked. And the good thing about this kind of yarn I happen to have is that my friend said it does thicken as you crochet it. So it's totally up to you. I mean, this is just a wallet, so it's not a big deal, but in terms of clothing, I would maybe go with a bit of a thinner yarn with a big Tunisian hook. Okay, so now that I am done, I'm just going to repeat the process again of inserting my hook into the next vertical bar, yarn over, and drawing a loop.